The rain hammered against the concrete like nature's own percussion, turning the city streets into rushing rivers. Zara Okafor pressed her back against the cold stone pillar beneath the overpass, pulling her nephew Kai closer to her trembling body. At 28, she'd weathered many storms, but tonight felt different, more desperate, more final. "Aunt Zara, I'm cold," Kai whispered, his 6-year-old voice barely audible above the thunder. His small frame shook beneath her thin jacket, which she'd wrapped around both of them. "I know, baby. It'll stop soon," she lied, watching the relentless downpour through exhausted eyes. Her art supplies, soaked and scattered, lay abandoned nearby, another casualty of their rushed eviction that morning. Headlights cut through the darkness, slowing as they approached. Zara tensed, pulling Kai behind her. In her experience, cars that stopped for people like them rarely brought good news. The sleek black vehicle came to a halt, and a tall figure emerged. Through the rain, Zara could make out an expensive coat, confident posture, and concerned eyes that seemed to glow in the streetlight. "Are you all right?" The man's voice was deep, cultured, with an accent that spoke of private schools and boardrooms. Zara lifted her chin defiantly. "We're fine, thank you." But even as she spoke, Kai coughed, a harsh, rattling sound that made her heart clench with worry. The stranger stepped closer, rain dripping from his dark hair. His eyes, she noticed, were an unusual shade of amber, almost luminous in the dim light. "You're both soaking wet. That little one sounds sick." "We don't need—" Zara began, but another violent cough from Kai cut her off. "Please," the man said, his voice gentle but insistent. "I'm Damon Sinclair. I just want to help." Something in his tone, a vulnerability beneath the polished exterior, made her hesitate. Damon knelt to Kai's level, his expensive suit absorbing the rain without concern. "Hey there, buddy. What's your name?" "Kai," came the small reply, followed by another cough. "Well, Kai, I have a warm car and hot chocolate at home. What do you say?" Zara watched this interaction with growing confusion. Wealthy men in $1,000 suits didn't stop for homeless women and children. They certainly didn't kneel in puddles to talk to scared little boys. "Why?" she asked simply. Damon looked up at her, and for a moment she saw something raw in his expression, loneliness that matched her own. "Because," he said quietly, "sometimes we all need someone to stop." Another flash of lightning illuminated his face, and Zara noticed something peculiar about his skin. It seemed to shimmer slightly, as if touched by starlight. But before she could process this observation, Kai collapsed against her, burning with fever. "Please," Damon urged, already moving toward them. For the first time in months, Zara's pride crumbled. "Okay," she whispered. As Damon lifted Kai gently in his arms, Zara caught a glimpse of something extraordinary. His eyes seemed to change color in the lightning, shifting from amber to deep purple before settling back to amber. But exhaustion and worry clouded her judgment, and she dismissed it as a trick of the storm. "My car's right here," Damon murmured, his voice strangely melodic. "You're both safe now." The penthouse elevator rose silently through the night, carrying them away from the storm and into a world Zara had only glimpsed in magazines. Kai slept fitfully in Damon's arms, his fever breaking as warmth enveloped them. "This is beautiful," Zara breathed, stepping into the expansive living space. Floor-to-ceiling windows revealed the city sprawling below like a constellation of lights. "Thank you," Damon replied, but his attention was focused on Kai. "Let's get him comfortable first." He led them to a guest room where soft lighting cast gentle shadows across cream-colored walls. As Damon tucked Kai beneath luxurious blankets, Zara noticed how naturally he moved, as if caring for children was second nature. "You're good with him," she observed. "I had a younger sister once," Damon said quietly, adjusting Kai's pillow. In the lamplight, his skin seemed to hold an otherworldly luminescence that Zara couldn't quite explain.
Later, as Kai slept peacefully, Damon and Zara sat in his kitchen sharing warm soup. The storm outside had gentled to a soft patter against the windows. "Tell me about yourself," Damon said, his unusual eyes studying her face. Zara hesitated. Then the words spilled out like water through a broken dam. "I'm an artist, was an artist. I lost my studio 3 months ago when I couldn't make rent. Kai's mother, my sister, was in a car accident. She's recovering, but—" Her voice broke. "I'm all he has right now, and I'm failing him." "You're not failing anyone," Damon said firmly. "You're surviving impossible circumstances. Today we were evicted from our apartment. I spent my last money on art supplies, thinking I could sell something, anything. But the rain ruined everything." Tears she'd held back all day finally fell. Damon reached across the table, his fingers brushing hers. His touch was warm, almost electric, sending unexpected shivers through her body. "What if I told you I need someone with your talents?" "What do you mean?" "I run a technology company, Stellar Innovations. We're rebranding, and our design team lacks soul. Everything feels cold, corporate. Your art, what I saw of it tonight, it has life, passion." She pulled her hand away, suspicious. "You barely saw my work. It was destroyed." "I saw enough," Damon insisted. "The sketchpad that wasn't completely ruined, your drawings were extraordinary. They reminded me of—" He paused, a strange expression crossing his features. "Of home." Something in his voice made her study his face more carefully. In the kitchen's warm light, she could swear his skin held an almost purple undertone, and those amber eyes seemed to shift and swirl like distant galaxies. "Where is home for you?" she asked softly. For a moment, Damon looked startled, as if she'd asked something dangerous. "Far away," he said finally. "Very far away." Their conversation was interrupted by Kai calling out in his sleep. They both rushed to his side, Damon's hand instinctively reaching to check the boy's temperature. "Better," he murmured, and Zara noticed his touch seemed to have an almost healing quality. Kai's breathing grew easier under his palm. "Who are you really?" Zara whispered, but Damon had already stepped back into the shadows. "Someone who understands what it means to be lost. Will you consider my offer? The job comes with a signing bonus that would cover first month's rent somewhere safe." Looking at Kai's peaceful face, Zara felt her last walls crumble. "Why are you helping us?" Damon's smile was sad and beautiful. "Because I've been alone for longer than you could imagine. And tonight, you reminded me what it feels like to care about someone." In the quiet of the guest room, with rain pattering outside and Kai breathing steadily beside them, something shifted between Damon and Zara, the first stirring of a connection that would change everything.
3 weeks later, Zara barely recognized her life. The modest apartment Damon had helped her secure felt like a palace compared to the shelters they'd known. More importantly, Kai was thriving, his laughter filling rooms that had known only silence. Zara, look what Mr. Damon taught me." Kai rushed into the kitchen where Zara was preparing dinner, his artwork clutched in small hands. The drawing showed 3 figures beneath a star-filled sky. Clearly, Kai's interpretation of their newfound family dynamic. What struck Zara was how Kai had colored Damon's figure with purple crayons, as if instinctively sensing something otherworldly about the man who'd become so important to them both. "It's beautiful, sweetheart," Zara said, though her eyes lingered on the purple figure with growing curiosity. Her phone buzzed with a text from Damon. "Working late again? I could bring dinner to the office." Zara smiled despite herself. Over the past weeks, their professional relationship had deepened into something far more personal. Damon found excuses to visit her design studio, bringing coffee and staying to watch her work. She'd catch him studying her with those mesmerizing eyes, and the air between them would crackle with unspoken possibilities. That evening, as promised, Damon appeared at Stellar Innovations with Thai takeout and that crooked smile that made her pulse quicken. "You don't have to keep feeding me," Zara protested, though she was already clearing space on her desk. "I like watching you eat," Damon replied, settling beside her. "You actually taste your food, savor it. Most people I know just consume."
Most people you know probably don't remember what it's like to go hungry, Zara said without thinking, then immediately regretted her words. But Damon's expression grew thoughtful rather than offended. You'd be surprised. Hunger isn't always about food. His fingers found hers across the desk. Sometimes it's about connection, belonging, feeling truly seen. The intensity in his voice made Zara look up sharply. In the dim-lit office lighting, she could swear his skin held that same ethereal glow she'd noticed before, and his eyes seemed to shimmer between amber and deep violet. "Damon," she said carefully, "there's something different about you. Something I can't quite—" He leaned closer, close enough that she could feel his breath against her cheek. "Does it frighten you?" "No," she whispered, surprised by her own honesty. "It intrigues me." Their lips were inches apart when Damon's phone rang, shattering the moment. He glanced at the screen and his expression darkened. "I have to take this. It's, family business." As Damon stepped into the hallway, Zara heard fragments of his conversation, words in a language that sounded like music in starlight, melodic syllables that seemed to resonate in her bones. When he returned, his usual composure was shaken. "I'm sorry, there's things about my past, my family." He ran his hands through his hair. "They're complicated." "Everyone has complications," Zara said gently. "I have an ex who's threatening to challenge my custody of Kai, remember? We all carry secrets." Damon's eyes flashed with something dangerous. "Someone's threatening Kai?" The protective fury in his voice sent warmth through Zara's chest. "Marcus thinks because I lost my apartment, because I'm struggling financially, he can petition for custody. He never cared about Kai before, but now he sees an opportunity to hurt me." "He won't succeed," Damon said with quiet certainty. "I won't let him." That night, as Damon walked her home, their conversation flowed like it had for weeks. Easy, natural, tinged with growing attraction. When they reached her door, he caught her hand. "Zara," he said softly, "whatever happens, whatever you learn about me, remember this moment. Remember that what I feel for you is real." Before she could ask what he meant, he leaned down and kissed her. Soft, gentle, and somehow electric. For a moment she could swear she tasted starlight on his lips.
The custody hearing was set for Friday morning, but Marcus struck on Wednesday night. Zara was tucking Kai into bed when the doorbell rang insistently. Through the peephole, she saw Marcus's familiar sneer and two official-looking men in suits. "Open up, Zara," Marcus called. "We need to talk about Kai's living situation." Her blood ran cold. Marcus had somehow obtained an emergency custody order, claiming she was providing an unfit environment. The men with him were court officers. "Aunt Zara?" Kai appeared beside her, rubbing sleepy eyes. "What's wrong?" Before she could answer, her phone rang. Damon's name lit up the screen. "Something's wrong," he said before she could speak. "I can feel it. Where are you?" "Home. Marcus is here with court officers. They want to take Kai." Her voice broke on the last words. "Don't open that door. I'm 5 minutes away." "Damon, what can you—" "Trust me." The pounding on the door grew more insistent. Through the wood, she heard Marcus's voice. "Zara, you're only making this worse. The boy deserves stability, not whatever this is." Kai pressed closer to her side, fear radiating from his small body. "I don't want to go with him, Aunt Zara. Please." "You won't have to, baby. I promise." When Damon arrived, he didn't knock. The door simply opened as if responding to his presence. He stepped inside, and Zara gasped. In the hallway light, there was no hiding what he truly was anymore. His skin held a distinct purple hue, luminous and otherworldly. His eyes blazed with protective fury that seemed to make the air itself crackle with energy. "Kai, go to your room," Damon said gently, but his voice carried an authority that brooked no argument. As soon as Kai was gone, Damon opened the door to face Marcus and the officers. What happened next defied explanation. Damon spoke in that melodic language Zara had heard before, and the court officers' expressions grew blank, distant. Marcus stepped back, suddenly uncertain. "The emergency order is based on false information. Mr. Caldwell has no legitimate claim to the child's custody." "Yes," one of the officers said slowly. "The paperwork appears to have irregularities." Marcus sputtered protests, but his voice seemed to fade against Damon's presence. Within minutes, the men were gone, leaving Marcus to retreat with muttered threats about not being over. "How did you do that?" Zara whispered once they were alone. Damon turned to her, and she saw exhaustion in his extraordinary features. "I told you my family was complicated. The truth is, I'm not from here, Zara. Not from this world." "You mean?" "I'm what your people would call an alien. My ship crashed here 5 years ago. I've been stranded, alone, trying to figure out how to get home, until I met you and Kai. Now I'm not sure I want to leave." Zara stared at him, this being who had saved them, employed her, cared for Kai like his own child. The purple tint to his skin, the way electronics responded to his touch, the otherworldly beauty that had always seemed too perfect for Earth. It all made sense now. "Show me," she whispered. He hesitated, then slowly let his human facade drop completely. His skin became a rich violet, marked with intricate patterns that seemed to shift like constellations. His eyes blazed with inner light, and when he moved, it was with the fluid grace of someone born under different stars. "Are you afraid?" he asked, vulnerability clear in his voice. Zara stepped closer, her hand reaching up to trace one of the constellation patterns on his cheek. His skin was warm, alive, humming with energy that felt like coming home. "You're beautiful," she breathed. "Both versions of you." Relief flooded his faces. "I've been hiding for so long I'd forgotten what it felt like to be seen." "I see you," Zara whispered. "All of you." Their kiss was different this time. Deeper, charged with truth and acceptance. In his arms, Zara felt the last of her fears dissolve.
6 months later, Zara stood in the center of her first solo art exhibition, watching as admirers moved from piece to piece with reverent whispers. Her paintings had evolved since meeting Damon. They now captured otherworldly beauty, cosmic love stories, families forged from stardust and hope. "The artist has such an unusual perspective on light and color," someone murmured nearby. "It's like she's painting from memory of places that don't exist." Zara smiled, knowing the truth was both simpler and more complex than they could imagine. "Aunt Zara, everyone loves your pictures." Kai rushed up to her, his face glowing with pride. At 7, he'd grown into a confident, happy child who spoke 3 languages, English, Spanish, and the melodic tongue of Damon's people, which he'd picked up with startling ease. "Damon," Kai tugged at his sleeve, "when are you going to ask Aunt Zara the special question?" Damon's eyes widened. "You were supposed to keep that secret, little man." "What special question?" Zara looked between them suspiciously. Before Damon could answer, the gallery lights dimmed slightly and a soft harmonic resonance filled the air, the sound of his people's traditional courtship songs. Around them, guests paused in wonder, though none understood the source of the beautiful music. Damon knelt before Zara, producing a ring unlike anything terrestrial jewelers could create. The band seemed to be carved from crystallized starlight, holding a stone that shifted between purple and silver like a captured piece of his home sky. "Zara Okafor, you saved me from a loneliness deeper than space itself. You and Kai gave me a home when I thought I'd lost everything. Will you marry me? Will you let me be Kai's father in truth as well as heart?" Through happy tears, Zara saw the gallery patrons watching in amazement as the ring seemed to float between Damon's fingers, glowing with inner light. "Yes," she whispered, then louder, "Yes, of course yes." As Damon slipped the ring onto her finger, it molded perfectly to her hand, warm and alive with energy that seemed to link her to something vast and wonderful. Kai cheered, rushing forward to wrap his arms around them both. "Now we're really a family." "We always were," Damon said softly, gathering them both close, "from the moment I found you in that storm." Later that night, after the gallery had emptied and Kai was asleep, Zara and Damon stood on their apartment balcony, looking up at the stars. "Do you ever miss it?" Zara asked, settled against his chest. "Your homeworld?" Damon's arms tightened around her. "Sometimes I miss the moons, the way our aurora danced every evening. But Earth gave me something my world never could." "What's that?" "You, Kai, This love that chose us, instead of being predetermined by genetics and social position. He turned her in his arms, his true form shimmering just beneath his human appearance. My people are coming for me soon. They finally received my transmissions. Zara's heart clenched. Are you leaving? Not unless you want me to. They're offering us all a new home among the stars, if we choose it, but Earth has become home because you're here. Looking up at the man, the being, who had saved them and whom they had saved in return, Zara felt the future spread before them like a constellation of possibilities. Ask me again in a few years, she said, standing on her tiptoes to kiss him. Right now, I'm exactly where I want to be. Above them, a shooting star traced across the sky, and Damon smiled his secret smile. His people would wait. After all, love, real love, was the rarest element in any universe. In Kai's room, the little boy dreamed of purple skies and silver cities, while in his sleep, he whispered words in a language that tasted like starlight and felt like home. Their story had begun with a storm, but it would continue among the stars, a family bound not by blood or origin, but by the choice to love across worlds. The end.